Imagine being able to play any song you want on an instrument. Playing an instrument in general can be a really fun skill to have, but learning paves the way, especially with guitar. With guitar, there are a few things you need to know before you can just jump right into playing. The first is going to be the basics. You're going to need to know the strings, the frets, and your own position and your personal preferences in the way that you play. After you have the basics down, you can go into the tabs. You're going to need to know how to choose tabs, how to read tabs, and how to play them. After you have these two things down, you can tie them together and be able to play any song on the guitar. Playing the guitar overall is just a really fun skill to have. You can play it for yourself, you can play for other people, but overall it's just a really great thing to do. Like I said, you need to start with the basics, and that's going to be your strings. On this electric guitar, there are 6 strings. The strings are labeled by letters. The first is going to be E, the second, A, D, G, B, E. E, A, D, G, B, E. This is going to come into play later when you start reading tabs. The strings work with the frets. The frets are going to be the metal bars behind the strings. They work together to create the sound that you're looking for. To get your nice sound, you're going to want to put your finger right behind the fret, press down on the string nicely, and have a nice pick. Having a nice pick is going to be like having back row comprehension. You want people to really hear you and get it out there, but you can't be too quiet. You're going to need to find your happy medium with that. After you kind of have the strings and the frets down, you're going to move on to your position. Obviously, you're going to want to have nice posture just like you would when you're speaking. You can look down, obviously, but you don't want to slouch over because that's going to hurt your back and really just affect the way that you play. After you kind of have the basics down, you can jump into the tabs. Choosing tabs is going to be largely based on your skill level. You're going to want to choose tabs that are easy for you. You're not going to want to choose tabs that have your hand all up and down the neck of the guitar when you're not fluent in playing. I chose the tab of the introduction to Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. This keeps my hand mostly in the same spot, so it's a good beginner tab. This one has me only using 6 frets, which there are 21 frets on a guitar. To jump in, we're going to start reading. Like I said, the strings are going to be labeled by the letters here on the side. We're only going to be using up to the 4th string here. So, the numbers are going to be your frets. Like I said, there are 21 of them, but we're only using 6. To start off, you're going to start on the 1st string and the 1st fret, which will have you all the way up here. Once you have that down, you're going to go to the 2nd string of the 3rd fret. So you go down to the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And then for the 3rd string, you're also going to be on the 3rd fret. 2 fingers on the 3rd fret, 1 on the 1st. Your strum pattern is going to be based on how far away these numbers are. See how these 2 are closer than the 1st? That's going to be how your strum is going to sound. See how the last 2 strums were closer than the 1st? Now we move on to the dead notes. Those are going to be the X's. Dead notes are going to be when you just hover your fingers over the strings and play normally. It's going to give a nice muted note. After that, you're going to move on to this. It's the same sequence that we played before. You're just going to move every finger over 1 string. And the strum pattern is just 3 down straight in a row. After you have that down, you have your first set, and you're going to move on to the second. The second is going to be the same strum pattern, same everything, just different frets. So first, you're going to start with your first finger on the 4th fret, and your second 2 on the 6th. Same strum pattern, and then you're going to move on to your dead notes. This time there are 4. And then your next note, which is going to be the same strum pattern as the other. And then you repeat it times 4. But after you have that, it'll sound a little bit like this. Then you're going to move down into your next note. After you have that all together, you can kind of put together the basics, put together what you've learned about tabs, and you are ready to play any song on the guitar. Like I said, you can play for yourself anytime, you can play for other people, but overall it's just a really fun skill to have. And with practice, you really can play anything. John Bon Jovi, a famous guitarist, once said, "Success is falling 9 times and getting up 10. So, if you keep getting up, you're going to be successful."